Yep, all good.
So what we've done is we've plugged it into the black and the yellow plugs, and you plug it into the two things on here. Basically this is just a speaker that goes up and down, and make sure it's on unlock rather than lock. And if we set it to a certain frequency, then we can see that just bouncing up and down. A really cool way of just showing that things vibrate, and they make noise at a particular vibration. So by sticking this thing on here, you're getting some vibrations happening, and it's particular frequencies. We get like that's going up and down. It appears to be bent in the middle, and this one's stationary. It's this idea that there's vibrations, and if the vibrations aren't at particular frequencies, we can't hear them. And then we can change this next dial up, so this dial changes it by a factor of 10. And you get different shapes in here. Maybe a bit hard to see, but getting different shapes. And so we get different kind of forms of what sound potentially could look like. When it's that loud sound, we call that resonance, and that's moving up and down 5,000 times a second. A little bit hard to really visualize, but every string on a guitar, every pipe has a particular frequency that it likes to vibrate at. So that's a little, it's okay, it's a bit boring. It's okay if you put the lock on and then put the black, oh, it's not black in this case, put this in and then unlock it, then it's free to vibrate, and so it should be able to move up and down, something like that. And then you can pour some salt on it, and the kids are like, well, what's that going to look like? It's going to look pretty strange. Probably got it going up and down too much. And if we're good, we should be able to get it to make patterns. Because like all practicals, I've done them ahead of time. You saw something there?
Maybe.
Not really seeing much.
To one side so it falls off, isn't it?
So we're seeing particular parts that are vibrating, particular parts that aren't. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get to a point where something magic happens, and you've got to play with the amplitude number. And so we're sort of seeing a couple of shapes in there. We'll try and get something a bit more special. Okay, now we've got two lines, at least that's something visible, two distinct lines, so that's one point, and then we go up again, and those lines change shape a little bit. Now we get a line here, and another line there, two straight lines. And so I'm just constantly adding more salt as the salt gets all shaken off, and then that all disappears, and so I go back to my one and click it up one number. And if we're good, we should be able to get circles. There we go. So we're getting a nice curve shape there, nice curve shape there. Circle, 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 and a bit in the middle, not it's loud, you can kind of tell that that's your next kind of spot. So now we've got curve, 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 curve. And essentially you just keep winding up the frequency, and it should get to even more and more complicated. You should almost be able to get to 16 different shapes, 16 sets of circles. And so they call that channeling these plates, and there's again some brilliant videos of that where you don't have to hear or you can turn out the annoying sound.
So what's the key learning for year 8s that you want them to take away from this?
So the idea that sound is through vibration, and that we can only certain instruments or certain sounds are heard based on particular resonance. And so for this, if this was a guitar string, it would only be able to play certain frequencies. So it would be able to play, if it was just bent, the top was centered and each end was fixed, or if it was then like that. So there's only particular waves that form in any medium, so in a fixed string or on in a pipe. When kids begin to start making their own musical instruments, there's physics properties around why you can only hear particular sounds from any given dimension of what you're playing with. For year 8, it's probably, hopefully something fun and interesting, but also the idea that vibrations tend to equate to sound. Particular vibrations
Cool.
have certain properties. Yeah.